Welcome to Forgotten Popcorn, where we talk about movies that have made us forget eating our popcorn. Today we're talking about The Zone of Interest 2023. We're talking about sound.
Oh yeah, best sound winner at the Oscars a week ago. About
Yeah.
what did you guys think?
I mean, when a movie wins for sound, usually it's for a really good reason. The sound's a really intricate part of every movie you watch, but like, I don't know, this movie is, I think, it's like sound is like the driving factor behind it because that's what the story is, right? That's so good. Alvaro, do you want to give a synopsis, or should I? I've watched it. Maybe you guys watched it more recent than me, but okay. It's based off of a book, and I think parts of it are not entirely accurate for movie reasons, as they usually are.
Of course.
But I believe the story of who the person was is accurate. And so it's a family of a officer who is partaking in the creation of the what's the word for it? I don't know the exact. I guess it's the
Concentration camp?
concentration camps, but for the, I don't know if I should really say, but for the devices used in the camps. And so essentially his role was to, man, I don't even want to go into it. But anyways,
All the logistics behind.
Behind it, yeah.
Let's just say efficiency, but
Exactly. And so basically, he was given a home literally along the wall of, was it Auschwitz? Or
it is
yeah,
Auschwitz.
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly which camp it was, but he lived literally next to it. And so you can imagine living in that environment, that sound was a very real thing, and it comes up throughout the entire movie.
And raising, what is it? I think like 5 kids there as well.
Something like that,
Yeah.
like 5.
Oh my god.
The psychological effects that must have on them. Like, I don't know. Imagine you're like 4 years old growing up next to this, 24/7. Those sounds happening. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like another movie, like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, very similar, but you don't get that much effect on the sound as you do in this movie, which that one's a bit more visuals as a story. This one where the camera sometimes goes black and you're just hearing crazy things, and it hits hard, and it's a movie that you wouldn't necessarily think, oh hey, like I'm coming to this movie for sound, like you're just watching the movie and then all of a sudden even the first 4 minutes are just black, and you're just hearing a bunch of sounds basically getting you ready for what you're about to watch. It was definitely tough to watch and tough to listen, but I'm glad I watched it. Definitely, that's for sure.
Definitely. It's definitely a movie that it is a must watch. Like, some movies people need to see. This is definitely up there. But like Greg said, right from the start, black screen, just sounds like it tells you straight away. You can watch if you want, but you're not really going to see anything. But listen to what's happening, and man, you can literally hear everything. It's very disturbing. Very disturbing.
Yeah, it's extremely, there's no other way to put it, right?
Yeah.
There are so many movies out there now with different takes on what happened and so many different views, and they all come to the same conclusion, but they're done very uniquely. And this one, I think, is probably one of the more unique ways I've seen it. And it's, Will, you were talking about it a little bit earlier before we recorded that there are a couple of shots that you thought were pretty good. The cinematography is pretty good, but I think it's almost done so well to the point where it's not distracting, because then it would take away from what we really should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And so it's really good that way. And man, there are a lot of shots where it just goes dead silent. You're just sitting there going, oh boy, I don't know what to think. It doesn't give you any answers. There's no. Obviously there's a narrative behind it, and you're aware of what's happening, but it's just so unique that you have to sort of just, oh my god, suffer with.
Suffer is the right word.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there listening and suffer. Yeah, you're just suffering while watching, but no, not a fun watch at all. I don't know.
It's impossible.
I don't know how to describe it. There's no words to pinpoint the effect it has, because it's just constant screams, gunshots, the chimney's constantly working.
Yeah, they did an incredible job. It's honestly just putting everything in the background, which you're just hearing them talk and converse. Sometimes they're in the back, sometimes they're even inside the house, and you just hear it, and it's like you're watching them all of a sudden maybe cooking, talking about having a random bruise on your arm, but then you're hearing a gunshot go off in the background. You're hearing a scream. It's scary. It's scary. It's definitely like putting you in that spot, because when you watch a movie, you don't expect to hear the amount of things that are happening on the outside, cars passing or anything like that. But you hear the birds even when you're inside the house. They made it so well done that you're hearing birds, you're hearing screams, you're hearing gunshots, you're hearing everything. It's scary. It's a scary movie.
Yeah, which is, it's weird to say because just watching, no sound, it's not scary at all. You're just watching a family live their everyday life. But the second you take it off mute, it's just a whole other story completely, and overwhelming. Again, I don't know what the right word is, but overwhelmingly intense.
I think the absence of sound too. It's there's a couple
silences.
scenes. Yeah, there's some silences around there where he's going through the stairs, pretty much right at the end there.
Near the end there,
and then it basically just jumps to the future, and then people cleaning the museums, I guess,
Yeah.
and it's just silent. You just hear people cleaning, and it's it's like it feels so like gut wrenching. It's like, oh man, it's like they're just cleaning, but the silence, you don't hear any conversation, you don't hear anything but the people cleaning, and it's just
Brings you right back into reality. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's a movie, but this really did happen. Like,
exactly.
no.
No, that's what I wanted to talk about as well, because like you said, the entire time you're just kind of sitting and dwelling in everything that's happening, and of course we're all aware when you're watching the movie, you know what it's about. You don't need a lot of context, which is because really it's a very simplistic movie in that sense, because it's not like a documentary and it's not like an overview of what happened, because there are many movies like it that have, like I said earlier, different perspectives of it, and so honestly, the most unique part is that ending. You just sort of like get that glance, and it's just incredible. Nothing. There's like nothing you can say. You just kind of sit there, and like that's the part where, like, even with the absence of sound, like you guys said, I don't even know what to say.
It's so hard to talk about this movie, not because of the subject matter necessarily, but just because like it's never really been done, a movie like this. So there's like, I don't know how to compare it to anything. I don't know how to describe it necessarily. It's just such a weird feeling, such a weird effect that it has on people.
I mean, I people should watch it regardless. Like,
for sure.
I definitely like this and like Schindler's List and like all these other movies that follow very serious topics and do it in such a unique way that I'm always like, you should watch these movies. You 100% should. Everybody should. But you should also, pick when to watch it, Like, there's times to watch these movies, but I don't know. I've watched, I don't want to say I've watched a lot of movies around this subject, but I've certainly, there's certainly been quite a few different ways of looking at it. And so I got to say, this is definitely one of the better, at least more interesting ways.
Yeah.
And the story is, interesting. We're talking about sound, but, oh man, like, I don't know how to make this more like human, It's just, if anybody's sitting here watching this movie going, oh man, I didn't really feel anything for it, I'm just like, did you really pay attention? Like, you have to pay attention, even though there's no sound or like very little sound. You have to be paying attention, because if you're not, then those sounds is where it's like really makes the difference, because you're not like, you could have watched this movie, it's all in German, you could have watched this movie without even understanding what they were saying and still gotten the same effect from the movie. 100%.
Like at some points I was getting a bit distracted. I was on my phone for a bit, and I wasn't reading the subtitles. I was like, yeah, I know what's happening. Like, I don't need to see them cleaning the kitchen, being by the pool. It's like, I hear what's happening in the background. Like, I don't need to see this family live their normal life right next to what's happening. There's really no point. Like,
yeah, you don't even care about the family. No. You don't care about what they're going through. They try to like make like a connection, like, oh, the father is gonna get shipped off to another area. He's gonna work in another. I don't care. I don't care. Your family's gonna get displaced. You're gonna have to go live somewhere else. Like, who gives a shit? Like,
and the mom wants to stay there.
Yeah,
She's like, yeah, you can go work at this other place. We're gonna stay here. I'm gonna raise our kids here. It's like, really?
This is our dream
Like,
home. That's what she says.
a dream home.
Dream home,
Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my god.
Sure. But like
Yeah.
you got to think about it too, because like they become so numb to the what's happening around
Yeah.
them. Like you just it's incredible. Like you live like even if you live in like a major city, there's a lot of different noises that occur, you know, and there's like constant barrage of like noise, and a lot of it's not even close to this.
No.
Not even close. Like could you imagine
Mm-hmm.
waking up every day
No.
and especially at night too, because that's when they would go through the full process, right?
it's-
You saw it in a couple of shots and things like that. And so just like, could you imagine just not understanding like what, like, they, like, I don't even, like, there's no words.
Yeah.
Like, they're obviously in a constant state of like, disbelief or whatever, right? That's how it works. You know,
Yeah.
they don't believe what's happening and everything like that. Although I believe they did understand, because there's like a couple of shots that like, you know, they're in the lake and whatever, and they go and they panic because they
you
drain.
see it slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, then they wash the kids up and everything like that. And even that, you know, even when they're by the water, you can still faintly hear different things. That's like maybe the furthest they can go from what's happening. But there's still like a disconnect there.
You can hear the river like rushing by, but if you really listen, you can still hear the camp, like what's happening, and it never really stops ever. Especially the second they have the chimneys built, we'll call them, I guess. Since that, it's just nonstop. They're constantly working 24/7.
I watched this movie at first, like I had it with low volume. I was like, okay, I know, like, you know, you guys, especially Alex, was like, listen, watch this movie with some sound. So when I watched this movie, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it with sound, but I got other stuff going in the background, stuff like that. I'm trying to pay attention, and especially after the first 4 minutes, I was like, okay, sound is definitely an important role. But then when they're through the river, I'm like, wait, I can hear something. Like there's something happening. Like what's going? I put up the volume, and then I'm like, okay, horrified based on what I'm hearing. You know, it's throughout the whole movie. And there's not, I don't think there's any scenes other than like when they're in the neighborhood area. Cause like they're basically, they show the scenes when the main character is like outside, when he's in a different place, right? When he's playing, when he's at this other station, but when he's in that neighbor area, like family and everything, you always constantly hear it. There's not a single moment I don't think that it's brought up. And like you said, they're very aware of what's happening, but I think they're just numb to it. Like the kids are playing and everything, they're having parties, they're hosting, but even like one of their friends that came over basically said like, oh, hey, like you have a Jewish person cleaning your house. How come you're letting them in the house and everything? I think they brought that up.
Yeah.
It's like they know what's happening. They know what they're like, they're aware of everything, you know, but it's just, they just became so numb to it. They're like, oh, this is my dream home. I don't care what's next to it, you know? And it's just a crazy, crazy way of thinking, especially for what's happening and, you know, the lives. But the sound in this movie basically encapsulates all that, like, crazy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of movies that use sound alone as a narrative. Like it's honestly, like there are a lot of phenomenal films that even up against this movie, we had you know, Oppenheimer and whatnot, you know, against this movie. But when, you know, I happened to watch it just before the Oscars, and I went, yeah, when I saw it, there's no chance anything beats it. Like nothing else in that category used it specifically to tell a story, and this one does. And I'm blanking on any other movie that does it so well.
No, I can't. No, I've never seen something like this. Like for my Oscar predictions, I had Oppenheimer win Best Sound because I hadn't seen this yet. Then the second I started, I was like, okay, yeah, no shit, like makes sense. I saw it after the Oscars. I was like, yeah, I see, yeah, nothing competes against this in terms of sound. I've never seen anything done this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not much else we can say about it. It's just one of those movies you should watch and just try your best to pay attention to everything that's happening. I mean, minus the sound, there's still a lot of different visually interesting. It's a unique story. It's very human. You know,
It's truthful, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
it's extremely truthful.
yes, you tried, like, you do follow a family of Germans in that time that are very heavily involved in what's happening, but like you don't care for them. They don't try to make you feel for the family. You just follow their everyday lives, I guess, around the house, and everything that's happening in the background. So like he stayed very true to what was happening, because it is true. The Hosses, they're called the family, they did stay next to Auschwitz, and even their house, then the backyard and stuff, it's fully accurate to how it actually looked. They found like pictures and everything. They reconstructed it like almost one for one. So like it's amazing what Jonathan Glazer did. It's out of this world.
Yeah. All right. I think that sums up this episode. Very unique movie. Definitely worth watching. We appreciate everybody listening and coming by the channel. If you haven't checked out any other episodes, we still have our Oscar predictions prior to it if you want to see what we had to say. Maybe we'll do a rundown of, now that we have Will back here in the episodes.
Yes,
welcome back.
Sir, thank you.
And we'll do a discussion of what happened and if we disagreed or agreed with any of the Oscar nominations and whatnot. I think that'd be an interesting one. As well as we have an episode to talk about the holdovers and the comparisons between Dead Poet Society and the two. That's a really good one, so go check that out as well. So yeah, anything else you guys want to say?
No, I don't know what else to add to this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys soon.